Have you ever stopped to really think about what's behind incredible wealth or, major success? Is it just luck, pure hard work, or maybe something deeper? What if there's this principle, like a magic law of the human mind, that if you just understood it, could unlock something really transformative in your own life?
That's a really compelling thought, isn't it? And what often gets missed, I think, is that the ideas we're about to explore, they're not just about making money. Not really. It's more about cultivating a specific mindset, a really powerful internal state. And this state can empower anyone, truly anyone, to achieve success, whether that's, financial or emotional well-being or even spiritual fulfillment. The core idea, the sort of revelation, is that this potential, this unique mental ability, it's not something external you have to go out and get. It's actually inherently within you already, just kind of waiting to be recognized and consciously developed.
Wow. That's that's a fascinating premise. Really intriguing. And today we are absolutely diving deep into a text that's, well, it's shaped countless lives. It's widely seen as one of the most influential books ever on personal development. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Even the origin story itself is pretty amazing. Hill, he was a young special investigator working for a big business magazine at the time, and he gets sent to interview Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest, most powerful industrialists of that whole era. And during their chat, Carnegie, maybe he's testing Hill, who knows? He drops this hint. Subtle but profound. He mentioned a master power, a magic law of the human mind, some kind of obscure psychological principle that he actually credited with his own incredible success.
And that hint, well, it became this monumental challenge. Carnegie basically threw down the gauntlet for Hill. He said essentially, go out, build a complete philosophy of all personal success around this exact principle. And this wasn't, a quick assignment. It kicked off this epic 20-year research journey for Hill. He meticulously studied over 500 self-made millionaires. He dissected their habits, their thinking, their whole approach to life. And the result of all that exhaustive work is Think and Grow Rich. And it's 13 core steps to what Hill called riches. But again, it's important to remember, not just money. It's a holistic richness in life. This book really boils down the core principles these super successful people applied, often without even consciously realizing it, to get those extraordinary results.
So our mission today for you listening is to really distill these incredibly powerful insights. You don't need to read every single page of the book, though. It's worth it. We're going to bring you the most potent nuggets, the key knowledge, the surprising bits, the actionable wisdom Hill uncovered. Think of this as your shortcut, kind of to understanding a philosophy that has genuinely changed so many lives, pushing people way beyond what they thought was possible.
And this leads us straight to a really fundamental question for you, the listener.
Yeah.
What is that capacity for greatness, for, profound achievement? What if it isn't just for a chosen few? What if it's already dormant inside you, just waiting to be activated? He'll believe this profoundly. He really did. So we're going to explore exactly how to activate that inner mental state, how to shift your internal reality. Because when you do that, it almost magically starts to reshape your external circumstances. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts the success you desire.
Okay, so how do we even begin this kind of transformation? Where does Hill start? He kicks things off with one single foundational idea, the very first principle, desire. But, and this is key, it's not just a wish, not a vague hope or, a pleasant daydream. Hill insists it has to be an intense, burning desire. He basically argues that unless you want something with your whole soul, with every fiber of your being, almost an uncomfortable intensity, you simply cannot achieve it. This isn't about casual wants. It's about a deep, consuming, all-encompassing drive.
That distinction is absolutely crucial. So many people wish they were rich or had a great career or perfect health. But how many actually possess that intense, consistent, burning desire, the kind that pushes them to do whatever it takes, to get past the obstacles, endure the setbacks? Hill paints this really vivid picture. He suggests that when a clear, unwavering image of what you desire fixes itself in your mind, it can actually trigger a kind of chemical change in the brain. Now, he doesn't mean literal chemistry like in a lab, but it's a powerful metaphor. It's like the brain's whole operating system reorients itself. It leads to this hyper-focused action, almost like a magnetic pull towards opportunities. It's a huge difference between saying, oh, I wish I were wealthy, and declaring with total conviction, I will be wealthy. I can almost feel it now. That level of conviction. It isn't just optimism. It's a mental state that fundamentally changes your energetic output.
Right. And to really see this in action, that classic story of Edwin C. Barnes, it's incredibly illuminating. Barnes had this unshakable, burning desire to work with Thomas Edison, not just for him, but with him. And when I say unshakable, I really mean it. He had zero money, no connections, no practical way seemingly to even get to Edison's lab. Most people would have just said, yeah, right, pipe dream. But Barnes's desire was so strong, he literally hopped a freight train, stowed away, and just showed up at Edison's office looking like, well, like a tramp. And he boldly announces he's there to become Edison's partner. Edison, probably amused or maybe saw something, hires him for menial tasks, sweeping floors, odd jobs. Barnes endures this for years, years of hardship. But his unwavering definiteness of purpose, that single burning desire, it eventually led him to become not just Edison's partner, but a millionaire through their work together.
What a story. It's such a testament to the power of just pure, focused desire. Barnes' story isn't just like an inspiring little tale. It's a living demonstration of Hill's principle. His focus was so laser sharp, his mind, through the very mental processes Hill describes, started to kind of alter its internal programming. And this prompted him to take actions that seemed totally irrational on the surface, but in hindsight were perfectly aligned with his one single aim: the path to success. It's often hidden, right? Seems impossible at the start. But it only really opens up when that objective is crystal clear, strong, and fueled by that deep, burning desire. It's that internal intensity that doesn't just motivate action, it almost compels it, makes it inevitable.
Okay, but Hill doesn't just leave it at have a burning desire. He's practical. He gives us 6 concrete, actionable steps. Steps to go from that vague wish to actually becoming money conscious, as he calls it, and making that desire a tangible reality. This isn't just abstract philosophy, it's a practical, repeatable process. It's about crystallizing your goals and burning them into your subconscious.
Exactly. And this is where the rubber really meets the road, turning that abstract desire into, well, concrete steps. Okay, so number 1. You have to define the exact amount of money you want. Hill is really explicit here. Vague stuff like lots of money. Pointless. Useless. You need a number. A fixed, concrete target you can visualize and attach real emotion to. 2. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return to this money. Nothing is truly free, right? What service, what effort, what sacrifice, what value are you bringing to the table? This anchors your desire in reality, reminds you of the give and take. 3. Establish a definite date. A deadline by which you intend to actually possess this money. A deadline isn't just a target, it creates urgency. It focuses your mental and physical energy. It turns a dream into a goal with a clock ticking. 4. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire. And this is crucial, begin at once. Whether you feel ready or not, start now. Hill hammers this home. Imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. The plan doesn't have to be perfect, just starting, that's what matters. 5. Write it all down. A clear, concise statement. Put down the exact amount, the time limit, what you'll give in return, and a clear description of your plan. The physical act of writing makes it tangible, a contract with yourself almost. And finally, number 6, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before you go to sleep and once right after you wake up. But here's the kicker. As you read it, you must feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. This isn't just mouthing words, it's an emotional, psychological imprinting process designed to talk directly to your subconscious mind. It's about creating that reality vibration within yourself first.
Okay, so you've got this burning desire. You've even mapped it out with those 6 steps. Solid. But desire alone, even that intense kind, isn't quite the whole picture, is it? Hill says the very next essential principle is faith. If desire is let's say, the body of your goal, then faith. Well, faith is its absolute soul. He actually declares faith is the single biggest power for success, the non-negotiable key.
Right. And what's really fascinating about Hill's take on faith is not just blind hope, or religious dogma necessarily. He describes it as a specific mental attitude, something that comes from deep within us. It's this profound, unwavering belief in the process itself, a conviction that your desires will happen, they will materialize. When you have that kind of faith, your whole mindset gets actively engaged. It channels this inner confidence into every single thing you do. It draws you closer to your goals. And Hill really emphasizes this. The belief has to be felt at both the conscious and subconscious levels. It needs to permeate your thoughts, absolutely, but it also has to be undeniably reflected in your actions, your posture, even your aura, you could say. When you reach that level of complete faith, your subconscious mind starts working relentlessly towards that goal, almost as if it's already a done deal.
And this is where another really powerful principle, auto-suggestion, comes into play, right? This isn't just like slapping on some positive thinking or repeating vague affirmations. Autosuggestion is deliberate. It's self-directed communication. It's about consistently, repeatedly telling your own mind, impressing upon it the conviction that you can and will achieve your desires. And doing that profoundly strengthens your faith, your belief system.
Yes, exactly. Autosuggestion is the direct mechanism. It's how we plant those positive seeds deep into the fertile ground of our subconscious mind. Think of it like this. Your subconscious is incredibly receptive. It doesn't really judge between what's objectively real and what's vividly imagined or just repeated over and over. So if you don't consciously plant the good seeds, thoughts of wealth, success, capability, then weeds, doubt, fear, negativity, they'll inevitably sprout and take over. Autosuggestion ensures you're actively cultivating the right mental landscape, the one that's fertile for achievement. It's about consciously choosing the thoughts that will ultimately shape your external reality. This deliberate, repeated focus essentially rewires your internal operating system to align with your biggest goals.
All right, so burning desire, check. Unwavering faith, check. Actively using autosuggestion, check. Now, how do you actually make this stuff happen in the real world? The practical side. Hill's next principle focuses on specialized knowledge, and he makes a really important distinction here. He says, general knowledge, the kind you get from, say, broad schooling or just general reading, while it's valuable, it won't by itself make you rich or truly successful. It might be a starting point, but it's definitely not the whole journey.
That's a point that gets misunderstood quite often, I think. Specialized knowledge isn't just about piling up facts. It means having deep applied knowledge, right in the specific field or niche where you want to succeed. It's not just acquiring information. It's mastering the art of organizing it, synthesizing it, and using it effectively towards a definite goal. You'll notice that many really intelligent people get stuck in sort of general habits of thought or broad academic stuff. Instead of pursuing the deep focused study and practical application within their chosen area, it's about becoming an authority, an expert in exactly what matters for your specific goals, and understanding how to leverage that knowledge to create real value.
There's a really great example of this in the sources. Henry Ford. He famously had very little formal education, not in the traditional sense anyway, yet he possessed this immense, almost intuitive, specialized knowledge about automobiles, this new burgeoning field. Remember that time he was challenged in court? A newspaper called him ignorant. Ford's response was legendary. He basically said, look, I don't need to carry all the knowledge in my own head. He said he could just push a button, basically, and summon experts, administrators who specialize in different areas to answer any specific question he had. What he did know, inside and out, was his definite purpose and how to achieve it, either through his own specialized knowledge or by strategically tapping into the knowledge of others.
That story just perfectly underscores such a vital point. Learning is lifelong. It's always possible at any age, no matter your background or responsibilities. Specialized knowledge gives you that clear, laser-focused direction for your future. It's essential not just for the practical skills you need, but also for developing your personality, your confidence. Both are critical for professional success. It highlights that, okay, you can't know everything, but you absolutely must know what's essential for your specific goal. And crucially, you need to know how to acquire or access that specific useful information. It's about being a strategic knowledge architect, really.
Okay, building on that specialized knowledge, Hill then brings in imagination. He famously calls it the workshop of the mind, that uniquely human ability that takes these abstract desires and translates them into concrete actions. It gives form to things that might otherwise just stay as wishes.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because Hill actually distinguishes between two vital types of imagination. First, you have synthetic imagination. This doesn't invent completely new stuff from scratch. Instead, it takes existing ideas, concepts, plans, and skillfully rearranges them into new combinations, often very innovative combinations. Think of like a brilliant chef using familiar ingredients to create a totally revolutionary new dish, or an engineer combining existing technologies in a novel way. It's about clever arrangement. And second, and this is the really transformative one, creative imagination. This is the source of genuinely new ideas, the kind that spark true breakthroughs. Hill suggests this form is primarily stimulated by that intense burning desire we talked about. He even posits that it can somehow pick up thought vibrations from others, or even from the ether, connecting with what he calls infinite intelligence to develop truly novel concepts, ideas that seem to appear out of nowhere. It's that leap beyond the known, where truly original thought happens. Today, we might talk about tapping into collective intelligence or subconscious insights, but the principle is similar.
Wow. And the sources give such a fantastic, almost unbelievable example of this creative imagination in action, the story of Asa Candler. He was just a young clerk. And based on this small piece of paper with a special mantra given to him by some old doctor, he invests his entire life saving, everything. He puts a secret formula into a kettle, uses a special paddle, and from the seemingly obscure process, he creates what becomes Coca-Cola, a global phenomenon. But the source makes a key point. The real success wasn't just the paper or the formula itself. It was Candler's creative imagination, his ability to see the immense potential in a simple idea and then drive it forward with passion.
That story really shows how every single invention, every product, every movement we see, from the simplest gadget to, complex social media, it all began as just an idea, a thought, often sparked by that creative imagination. But, like you said, the real success comes from driving that idea forward. With unwavering passion, relentless imaginative application, you absolutely have to create it vividly in your mind first. Visualize it existing. Before it can possibly manifest physically in the world, your imagination, in Hill's view, isn't just for daydreaming. It's the essential starting point for all real-world achievement and innovation.
Okay, so desire, faith, specialized knowledge, imagination, you've got all these powerful internal things firing. But what's the bridge? What connects these internal states to actual external results? Hill is adamant. Dreams, no matter how vivid or inspired, if they don't have a concrete plan, they're just fantasies. Hot air. You need organized planning, meticulously organized planning. This is where the abstract becomes tangible, where the internal power translates into definite, measurable steps.
And that is the absolute core of this principle. How do you convert an intangible desire into its physical or monetary equivalent? The answer is through a definite practical plan. And critically, you have to put that plan into immediate action, a brilliant idea, an impeccable plan. They have zero value if they aren't properly implemented. Just sit there. Hill's teaching is really clear on this. Success never comes just from having a dream. It comes from converting that dream into consistent, determined action, with honesty, with persistence. Without a solid, actionable plan, even the most inspiring vision just stays a vision, a fantasy, a wish, never reality.
And, okay, what happens if your first plan, or maybe even your second or third, just doesn't work? It hits a wall, fails. Hill is incredibly clear about this too. Truly successful people, they do not give up, period. They don't see failure as like the end of the road. They see it as crucial feedback. They meticulously analyze what went wrong. They refine their plan based on what they learned, and they try again, often with more wisdom, more determination. It's an iterative process, right? Continuous improvement, not just a straight line to success.
Exactly. That iterative view is so important. Think about Thomas Edison again. He's the perfect example here. He famously tried thousands of times before he finally succeeded with the practical light bulb. He didn't see those attempts as failures in the way most people think of failure. They were just discoveries of ways that didn't work. For Hill, what we call failure is just temporary defeat. That's all. It signals there's a flaw in your plan, an imperfection that needs finding, correcting, and then you try again with a better strategy. Persistence means you keep moving forward no matter the temporary setbacks or tough circumstances. It transforms those obstacles into stepping stones.
And here's where it gets really, really insightful, I think. Hill, in that massive study, he did 25,000 unsuccessful people. He pinpointed their single biggest enemy. And it wasn't lack of talent or intelligence, or even opportunity. It was indecision, often showing up as procrastination, just putting things off. Successful people, in stark contrast, make definite decisions quickly. And significantly, they change their minds slowly, if at all. That observation gives us a huge insight into the psychology of achievement.
The contrast Hill draws there is really striking, isn't it? Those who are habitually indecisive, they're almost always surrounded by poverty and failure. It's a pattern. Every moment you delay a decision is a moment wasted. Wasted time, wasted energy, often wasted money. Hill strongly advises, don't get swayed by external unsolicited opinions. People always have opinions. Instead, rely on your own well-considered judgment. And crucially, the advice of your trusted mastermind group. We'll get to that. This deliberate approach lets you make firm, productive decisions that move you forward. Instead of staying paralyzed by fear of mistakes or self-doubt, it's about cultivating that inner compass, that decisiveness.
Think about Henry Ford again, specifically his decision about the Model T, the iconic car. His advisors, apparently, kept pushing him at various points to change its design, modernize it, make improvements they thought were needed. But Ford, with that characteristic conviction, he stuck to his original vision, made only small tweaks later on. His greatest strength, many biographers say, was exactly this ability. Make quick, firm decisions, and then stand by them. He famously ignored the critics because he trusted his own judgment and the definite purpose he had for his company.
That story really brings up an important question. Why do so many people hesitate, often hurting themselves in the process? Well, a big reason is fear. Fear of making the wrong choice. Fear of criticism. Fear of failure.
And Hill warns powerfully against listening to unsolicited opinions for exactly this reason. Opinions, he says, are cheap, the cheapest commodity on earth. Everyone's willing to give them away for free, and often they're offered to discourage you, to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. His advice is clear. Only consult your carefully chosen mastermind group, because they are genuinely supportive and aligned with your goals. You have your own mind, your own inner fire, your own intuition. Use it. Make firm, productive decisions. The world, ultimately, respects people whose words mean something and whose decisive actions speak way louder than any chorus of critics.
Okay, so you've decided, you've planned, you're taking action. But what about when things get tough? Because they will get tough. When obstacles pop up, seemingly out of nowhere, this is exactly where persistence comes in. Hill observes that most people, the vast majority, just throw in the towel at the first major sign of opposition. They often quit just when success is actually really close, right around the corner.
Persistence, in Hill's framework, is that sustained effort. The effort needed to solidify and really induce unshakable faith. It means just continually moving forward despite the setbacks, relying on that inner reservoir of strong willpower. Life, like the weather, it's going to throw challenges at you. It's inevitable. And the bigger the success you're aiming for, usually the bigger and tougher the obstacles you'll face. That's just how it works. Persistence is about keeping that forward momentum going regardless of the circumstances. It's about viewing every temporary defeat not as an ending, but as a critical test of your willpower and the depth of your desire. It's that unwavering resolve that really separates the achievers from, the people who just try for a bit.
The sources tell this incredible story, really embodies this principle. Colonel Sanders, founder of KFC, can you even imagine this? He was rejected 1,009 times, 1,009 times, before he finally got his first yes for his chicken recipe and his business model. That level of persistence is just mind-boggling. It's a profound demonstration of exactly what Hill means by sustained effort.
And this brings up that crucial question Hill keeps putting in front of us. Is failure really failure? For Hill, absolutely not. It is not final defeat. Instead, it's a temporary setback, an invaluable chance to learn, to recalibrate, to grow stronger. People who cultivate persistence, they instinctively see obstacles not as impossible barriers, but as essential tests of their willpower, hidden guides showing them where adjustments are needed. Overcoming these challenges doesn't just clear the path, it makes you intrinsically stronger, more resilient, and ultimately it leads directly to success. Conversely, if you develop the habit of giving up easily, you become, in Hill's words, a kind of fugitive from challenges, always retreating instead of facing them head on. Persistence then becomes your ultimate insurance policy against permanent failure.
Okay, moving into the realm of collaboration now. Hill makes it really clear that individual effort, while it's the foundation, it's often not enough for truly massive, lasting success. He introduces what he considers a huge multiplier for your efforts, something that literally amplifies your power, the mastermind principle.
Yeah, the mastermind concept is really fascinating. Hill defines it as an alliance of two or more people who coordinate their knowledge and their efforts, working in harmony towards a definite shared purpose. What's revolutionary here is his argument that when these minds connect in this spirit of perfect harmony, a third mind, kind of a spiritual unit of energy, is generated. This collective consciousness leads to significantly greater mental power, more creative insight than just the sum of their individual parts. It's not just teamwork as we usually think of it. It's a synergistic force, like connecting multiple batteries together, right? You create a much more powerful, sustained energy source than any single battery could produce on its own.
Let's bring Henry Ford back into this again just to see this principle working. Before he built his huge world-changing company, Ford was, like we said, relatively poor, didn't have much formal education, largely unknown. But he didn't start this journey alone, not at all. He strategically built his initial business with 5 trusted people he considered his mastermind group, and significantly, he also cultivated this deep friendship and alliance with the great inventor Thomas Edison. That formed a powerful, maybe informal, but definitely a mastermind connection.
And that alliance, that mastermind group, including that profound connection with Edison, it was absolutely instrumental. It helped Ford overcome not just his personal poverty, but also the countless technical and business challenges he faced. It ultimately propelled him to become one of the wealthiest, most influential people of his time. The mastermind group provides not just tangible economic benefits, combined resources, shared knowledge, but also these profound psychic benefits that helps people overcome their weaknesses by leveraging the strengths of others in the group. And it significantly amplifies their collective ability for insight and decisive action. It's about combining thoughts and efforts to reach goals much faster, much more powerfully than any one person could ever do alone. It creates this kind of cosmic harmony that boosts everyone's capacity for success.
Okay, now here's a concept that, well, it might make you pause initially, but it's undeniably central to Hill's philosophy, and it's often misunderstood: sex transmutation. At its core, it's about channeling a really powerful natural energy, arguably the most potent human motivation there is, into highly productive, often creative avenues.
Yeah, this concept often raises eyebrows, doesn't it? But it's really important to understand Hill's perspective here. He asks, how can this natural, primal desire be harnessed as a force for success? Sex transmutation is exactly that process, intelligently channeling carnal desires and the immense energy that comes with them into other outlets, specifically creative, intellectual, and productive pursuits. Hill states very emphatically that the sex urge is the strongest, most powerful human motivation, period. And when this incredible force is consciously controlled, intelligently redirected, it becomes this amazing wellspring for creativity, for business insight, for achieving true greatness. He implies that those who master this transmutation can achieve extraordinary things. They often become what we might call geniuses in their fields, while those who fail to control and redirect it, they might find themselves facing difficulties, maybe even self-destructive patterns. Think about great artists, visionary entrepreneurs, brilliant scientists. Hill suggests they often, maybe unconsciously, tap into this redirected energy during their most intense, focused, creative work.
It's like redirecting a powerful river, You don't stop the flow. You build a dam and channel its immense power to generate electricity, to power something constructive.
We've touched on the subconscious mind before, but Hill goes much deeper into its role. Its profound and somewhat mystical role. He describes it not just as like a storage place for habits, but as the direct intermediary. The link between the finite mind of a person and what he calls infinite intelligence, this universal source of wisdom, ideas, inspiration.
And that's truly fascinating, isn't it? Hill suggests the subconscious mind acts as the medium. It translates pure mental impulses, our thoughts, into their spiritual and ultimately their physical equivalents, reality. It's the hidden engine that largely controls our day-to-day decisions, our deep-seated desires, our emotional reactions. So Hill puts immense emphasis on meticulously feeding this subconscious mind, consistently, with positive, constructive thoughts. Thoughts like unwavering faith, deep love, the conviction of success, enduring hope. And conversely, he warns us to rigorously guard against the negative stuff: fear, hatred, greed, superstition, because these, he argues, can actively lead to poverty and failure. It's about cultivating this incredibly fertile mental garden where every single seed you plant is carefully chosen for its potential to yield a really bountiful harvest.
Hill takes this even further. He describes the human brain itself as literally a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. He suggests that through what he called the ether, which was a common scientific idea back then for a pervasive medium, every human brain can actually pick up thought vibrations being released by other brains. That idea certainly opens up some fascinating possibilities for understanding things like intuition, serendipity, maybe even aspects of collective consciousness.
And the practical application of this is profound. By diligently filling your conscious mind with clear, positive thoughts and precisely defined goals, your subconscious mind then becomes this active partner. It works to help you implement them. Our thoughts aren't just fleeting internal chatter. They are incredibly powerful forces that quite literally create our reality. If we focus them correctly, consistently, and with that unwavering belief we talked about, somehow every difficulty can become easier. Opportunities can be drawn to us, almost like using an invisible magnet. The brain, with its billions of connections, orchestrates everything, and Hill suggests it can be actively tuned like a radio to receive beneficial impulses, insights, solutions from some larger unseen intelligence.
Finally, we get to what Hill considers the apex, the absolute pinnacle of his entire law of success philosophy, the sixth sense. He presents this as the ultimate culmination of mastering all the previous principles, the faculty that lets us tap into almost limitless potential.
That's right. The sixth sense, in Hill's framework, is basically synonymous with creative imagination, but at its highest level, a highly refined faculty of the subconscious mind. It's the mechanism through which humans, often without conscious effort, without logical deduction, receive communications, insights, profound inspiration directly from that infinite intelligence. It's that sudden flash of intuition, right? That gut feeling. That provides elegant solutions to problems you've been wrestling with, or sometimes even gives you premonitions, warnings of dangers ahead. Hill is explicit. This principle, this higher faculty, can only be truly understood and successfully used after you've diligently mastered the first 12 principles. It's about reaching a state where your individual mind is so finely tuned that it can connect seamlessly to the universal energy and wisdom flowing through everything.
The sources mention incredible figures like Thomas Edison, Abraham Lincoln, even Prophet Muhammad, suggesting they powerfully use their sixth sense to achieve their extraordinary greatness, receiving inspiration and wisdom way beyond ordinary means. This isn't just abstract theory. It seems to be an observable, if maybe mysterious, pattern in the lives of these historical giants.
And this brings us to that really profound and empowering question. Can anyone access this seemingly mystical sixth sense? Hill profoundly believed the answer is yes, a resounding yes. He argued that by consistently practicing refining our sixth sense, by cultivating our inner awareness, nurturing that spiritual connection, we can actively link ourselves to infinite intelligence. And this connection, in turn, empowers us to transform our deepest dreams into tangible, material reality. Hill's ultimate message here is deeply liberating. We actively choose our victory or our defeat through the incredible power of our own thinking. It's about recognizing and diligently exercising that inherent, often dormant ability that lies within every single one of us.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly to talk about the internal enemies. The things that can derail even the strongest desire, the most meticulous plan. Hill dedicates a whole section to these hidden adversaries that, he argues, prevent the vast majority of people from ever becoming truly rich in any sense of the word. Indecision, doubt, and fear. He vividly calls them the 6 ghosts of fear, suggesting they haunt our minds and sabotage our best efforts from the inside out.
What's particularly insidious about these fears is how subtly they operate, isn't it? They often live down in our subconscious, yet they powerfully dictate our actions, or more often, our inaction. They aren't real physical barriers. They're purely products of our own minds, powerful psychological constructs. And the moment one fear gets a foothold in your thoughts, others tend to follow right behind it, creating this cascade of negativity. And that can paralyze action, limit our abilities, crush our confidence, ultimately keeping us stuck in mediocrity, never reaching our potential. Just recognizing that they aren't physically real is the crucial first step to conquering them.
Hill meticulously identifies 6 fundamental fears. Fears he saw people universally struggling with. Each one a major obstacle to achievement. Number 1, the fear of poverty. He saw this as often the most destructive, capable of creating this perpetual state of mental poverty that then manifests externally. 2, the fear of criticism. A really powerful fear. It can paralyze action, stifle creativity, stop people from taking bold steps. 3, the fear of ill health. This leads to worry, hypochondria, often inaction because your mental focus shifts entirely to perceived sickness. 4, the fear of loss of love. This profoundly affects relationships, self-worth, emotional stability. 5, the fear of old age. This can lead to a premature giving up on ambition, a sense of resignation, just fearing the future instead of embracing it. And finally, number 6, the fear of death. The ultimate fear of the unknown, which can make people hesitant to take risks or truly live fully.
Okay, so given how pervasive these seem, how do we actually defeat these ghosts, these fears that feel so deeply ingrained? Hill's answer is elegantly simple, but profoundly challenging to implement. He says, the only thing over which we have complete, absolute, total control is our thoughts. Whatever thoughts we consistently choose to fill our minds with, whether they're positive and empowering or negative, and limiting those thoughts will ultimately manifest as our reality. So the key then is unwavering mental mastery, becoming the conscious beatkeeper of your own mind, deciding what gets in and what stays out.
And for anyone listening who wants, concrete strategies to actually fight these fears, Hill offers some incredibly practical and powerful advice. First, control your thoughts. This isn't passive. It's an active daily discipline. You have to consciously choose to focus your mental energy on positive, empowering ideas and rigorously filter out the negativity. Know that a positive emotional state is fertile ground for success. And finally, cultivate profound self-love. Address that fear of losing love by building a strong, healthy, unwavering relationship with yourself. When you're secure in your own worth, you become empowered to attract and keep positive, supportive relationships, instead of constantly seeking external validation or fearing abandonment.
In connecting this all back to the bigger picture, Hill's ultimate, most empowering message is really this. Success in all its forms, financial, emotional, spiritual, depends entirely on mastering our thoughts and cultivating our mindset. The specific kind of mindset we choose to cultivate, day by day, moment by moment, that directly determines the direction and the ultimate quality of our entire life. It's about recognizing, consciously activating, and diligently using the immense inner powers we all inherently possess, instead of remaining passive victims of external circumstances or those insidious self-created ghosts of fear.
Conquering these internal enemies isn't just about avoiding failure. It's about clearing this wide-open, unobstructed path for unimaginable success to actually flow into your experience.
Wow. Okay, so today we've taken a really deep dive into Napoleon Hill's foundational work, Think and Grow Rich. We've journeyed through these profound principles. We explored how intense desire, unwavering faith, specialized knowledge, imagination, decisive planning, relentless persistence, the power of masterminds, the subconscious, the sixth sense, how they're all connected. Intertwined. These principles, when you put them all together, create this powerful, holistic philosophy for achievement, a way to transform thought into tangible reality.
And this really brings up a crucial question for you listening right now to really sit with. What if success isn't something you just get or stumble upon by luck? What if it's something you actually become through the deliberate cultivation of your internal state, your mental attitude? Hill has shown us pretty unequivocally that the key to unlocking extraordinary achievement lies deep within each of us. It's not some vague concept, it's a concrete, actionable process. It demands the right mindset, yes, but also unwavering belief, careful planning, and continuous, persistent effort. It's really about aligning your deepest thoughts and your daily actions with your biggest, most important goals.
So what does all this mean for your journey, your unique path? If you find yourself struggling right now, remember Hill's incredibly profound insight. It doesn't mean you've lost. It doesn't mean you're destined to fail. It simply means you are in the critical process of preparing to win. So what small but decisive step can you commit to taking today, right now, to more deeply align your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions with your deepest, most burning desires?
Hill's powerful examples. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, Colonel Sanders, they serve as undeniable proof. Unwavering faith, relentless determination, and a consciously cultivated mindset were the absolute most significant factors in their monumental success. So what specific aspect of your own mindset or your daily actions can you focus on refining, improving, starting right now, to become the person who doesn't just dream of your desires but actively goes out and achieves them? The immense power to transform your life, truly, it is already within you, waiting to be unleashed.
We really hope this deep dive has given you some powerful, actionable insights to think about and, more importantly, to apply in your own life. Remember Hill's core message. You can think it and you can grow rich in every profound sense of that word.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep connecting those dots. There's always more to learn, always more to achieve.